I'm going to call the Select Board meeting to order for Wednesday, September 17th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. Town Manager, do we have any non-public tonight?
Mr. Chairman, at this time we do not.
Okay, there is a possibility the Selectmen may go into non-public depending on the time.
And that will be under A, right?
Yes. Consideration of minutes. This would be September 3rd. Yes, Linda.
Yeah, I have two very small changes. On page 2, line 76, the second word change R to the. And on page 11, line 308, add Wolfeboro waters at the end of the sentence before reviewed.
Where were you on the 308?
308. It's on page 11.
Yep.
And just going to add Wolfeboro waters before the word reviewed. It's the end of the sentence.
Dave, I have a couple.
Go ahead.
Line 28, it says public input limited to 3 minutes per resident and 20 minutes in total. Isn't it 15? And then on line 46, at the end of the sentence, it says, I would like to see after, and that needs to be struck. They put it in twice. It should just say, I met today with some people who have met with the contractors there who say the bones of the building are solid.
Okay, any others?
Can I point something out?
Yes.
I think that after Brian made that change, I just looked at our agenda, and I'm assuming that's what it says. The agenda says 20.
Our policy says 15.
I know, I'm saying I think we need to change this. That's why I'm saying it.
Okay.
So right now, I'd like to move that public input, that it say 15 minutes in total, which is what our policy says, and not 20.
Okay.
Okay. Are we still on the minutes? Well done. Move to approve the September 3rd minutes as amended.
Second.
Okay,
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, next on the agenda, public input. Limited to 3 minutes per resident, 15 minutes in total. Anybody want to talk to us?
Good evening. Good to see you guys all again. For the record, my name is Michael Villadue, and I'm one of the owners of Front. Let me move this back a little bit here.
You got to pull it up. Pull it closer.
So that with Front Four Cellars down on Railroad Avenue. Can you not hear me? Okay, how's this? All right. So again, I'm Michael Villadue, and I'm one of the owners at Front Four Cellars down on Railroad Avenue. And usually I would have been on the docket, would have come to you with a special event permit, but I was just made aware of a situation this past Saturday, so I'm asking for a little dispensation, and I'm going to give some background and facts and ask for some guidance on this one. But we have a car exhibit group that's coming in. We've booked them rooms at the Wolfeboro Inn. They're coming in on Saturday afternoon, staying through Sunday, shopping in town, staying at the inn, and then spending a considerable amount of time at the winery on Saturday evening. They are a 501c, and they're bringing 8 Allard cars from a British car, and they're doing a car show here. And they would like to park them in front of Front Four Cellars on Railroad from 4 to 7 o'clock on Saturday. So normally I understand that we require a permit, but in this particular situation, I didn't have the time to go through the process, so I thought I'd come up here and ask for permission to, beginning around 3:30, 3:45, to cordon off those 8 spots for those 8 cars from 4 to 7, and allow them, it's more of a public display of the cars while they're in at the winery. So.
Questions for anybody?
I will say that also from 3:30 to 4:30 on, there's a number of parking places available on both Railroad and Central Avenue at this time of the year. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to come upon you if it was in the middle of the summertime, but this time of year, there's plenty of parking out there, and these guys just want to be able to keep all their cars together. So I would just cone them off and allow the 8 cars to park there and then be on their merry way at 7 o'clock.
What if, as the cars come in, if there's a spot, he knows that they're coming, he just blocks off 1 spot at a time or 2 spots at a time, and then they come in. Then they come in and, not blocking 8 spots off all at 3 o'clock, but a little bit at a time. So
My only thing is, I would think we would want from that nonprofit an insurance policy, co-insuring the town of Wolfeboro, which we would for any one of these events. That's the one thing I feel is a must, and I think also check with the police, see if there's any issue there. The ones that
I would agree with those 2 things.
Yeah, I can reach out to them tonight and have them issue a certificate of insurance.
Yeah, if you can get it to Amy
And get
downstairs.
it, yep, send it over to Amy.
So did we take a decision, block off 8 spots, or my colleague here saying 1 at a time? I'd kind of opt, if you're going to do it, block off the spots.
Yeah.
And because I just think, Brian, me personally, I just think that would be hard to manage. Somebody's pulling out, pulling in, and all of a sudden hands go up and fingers go up, and block off the spots. But I think you do need to get to Linda's very capable point. We need to get insurance, and you need to talk with the gendarmerie. They're sitting right over there. Okay, that would be my sense too.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion to, what's the name of the group? Do you know?
It's the Kayla Allard Motor Club, I believe it's what it's called.
Okay, so I make a motion that the Kaylard Allard Motor Club have 8 spots cordoned off at,
Railroad Avenue.
yeah, what time?
3 o'clock.
What time does he need him?
4 o'clock, but 3:45, just so we have some time to get the cones
Quarter
out
of
and
4
stuff.
till,
So 4:45 till
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock
On the 20th.
on the 20th of September, pending a insurance policy from the group and approval by the police department.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else want to talk to us right now? Hey, we have a couple of public hearings. The Wolfeboro Select Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, September 17th, 2025, at or about 6:30 p.m. Wolfeboro Great Hall, 84 South Main Street, Wolfeboro, New Hampshire, to consider the application for an issuance of an alcoholic beverage permit for the Wolfeboro Historical Society for their poetry reading and wine tasting fundraiser on September 26th, 2025 at the Clark House Complex, 7 to 9. Somebody here for that?
Hi, I'm Libby Shannon. I'm here for the Wolfeboro Historical Society special event permit for September 26th. And we want to have a BYOB wine tasting and poetry reading event in the museum. And the couple of people from the Lakes Region Newcomers Club will come. So if you have any poetry you would like to share, you can reach out to me.
Anybody have any questions?
Nope.
We want to make a motion?
I move to approve an alcohol beverages permit to the Wolfeboro Historical Society for their poetry reading and wine tasting fundraiser on September 26, 2025 at the Clark House Complex from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Libby.
You're welcome. Next public hearing, unanticipated funds. Wolfeboro Select Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, September 17th, 2025 at 6:30 PM for the acceptance of unanticipated funds for an amount awarded that is less than $10,000 in accordance with RSA 31:95-B relative to grant monies not to exceed $3,000 the town of Wolfeboro to be used for household hazardous waste collection program, and to authorize the town manager to sign the application for the grant. Jim, do you have anything on this?
So this is a grant that we are managing in conjunction with Lakes Region Planning Commission for household hazardous waste.
Okay. Anybody like to make a motion in reference to this, please?
Don't we open up a public hearing?
Public hearing. Okay, I'll open the hearing. Anybody have any issues? Anybody in the public? Here, close the public hearing.
Move to accept the grant and the terms of the grant.
Okay, is that a motion?
That is, accept unanticipated funds in excess of $10,000 in accordance with RSA 31:95B-B3A to accept anonymous cash donations in the amount of $18,000 to the town of Wolfeboro, to the town welfare department, and
That's the next
no,
one.
That's the next one.
That's the next one.
grant monies to exceed $3,000 to the town of Wolfeboro to be used for the household hazardous waste collection program, and authorize the town manager to sign the application for this grant. Excuse me.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Dave, I had one question. Not on that. Jim, do we have a permit number for the Historic Society, or is that different? Do we need to, no?
I think we usually have permit numbers for special events.
I didn't know if we needed to.
And I haven't ever seen a number for a liquor. You might have one or two a year.
Okay.
All right, the next public hearing, the Wolfeboro Select Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, September 17th, 2025, approximately 6:30 PM at the Great Hall, 84 South Main Street, Wolfeboro. The acceptance of an unanticipated funds in excess of $10,000 in accordance with RSA 31:95B3A to accept an anonymous cash donation in the amount of $18,000 to the town of Wolfeboro to the town welfare department, more fund, and to fund an employee holiday celebration. This is a public hearing. Anybody want to speak to this? Okay, I'll close the hearing. Board? Linda?
Would you like a motion?
Yes.
I move to accept an unanticipated funds in the amount of $18,000 to the town of Wolfeboro, to the town's welfare department, Works and More Fund, and to fund an employee holiday celebration.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, the temporary event permit. Wolfeboro Select Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, September 17th, 2025, at approximately 6:30 at the Great Hall, Town Hall, 84 South Main Street, Wolfeboro, New Hampshire. Consider a temporary event permit request for the Wolfeboro Area Chamber of Commerce to hold the Wolfeboro Great Pumpkin Hunt and Sidewalk Sale Days around Wolfeboro from September 26th to 28th, 2025, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Permit number 2025-54.
Hi,
Yes.
Mary DeVries, and the Wolfeboro's Great Pumpkin Hunt is a new event that we're putting on this year, and all businesses, clubs, organizations are invited to participate, and we will put them on the map It will be a self-guided tour for the public to take, hunting for the pumpkins, and each pumpkin will have a number, so you'll also want to indicate on the map which pumpkins you've found by number. And if you'd like, bring that map back to the Chamber of Commerce, and we will enter it or you into a chance to win chamber dollars. And 2 winners will be chosen, and chamber dollars can be spent as cash with any Chamber of Commerce member business. So just looking forward to lots of participation, which we have seen already. And just adding to that weekend, the sidewalk sale days we've done for many, many years. I wanted to mention also about sidewalk sale days that if you don't see a business with sales out on the sidewalk, please go inside. I'm hearing from some businesses that they do not have the staff for indoor and outdoor sales, but they are participating in the sale days, and please go inside. And then, so yes, it's just going to be a wonderful weekend. This adds to activities that are already happening throughout that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, September 26, 27, and 28. So please spread the word and go to wolfeborochamber.com if you want to see all those activities.
Any questions for Mary?
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
All right.
Do you want to make a motion then?
I'll move to approve a temporary event permit request for the Wolfeboro Area Chamber of Commerce to hold the Wolfeboro Great Pumpkin Hunt and Sidewalk Sale Days around Wolfeboro on and from September 26th to the 28th, 2025, between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m., permit 2025-54.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next on our agenda is the bulk vote. This includes our weekly manifest, September 5th, September 12th. One is for 428,000 plus, the other is for 291,000 plus. Intent to cut on Stoddard Road, College Road, property tax refunds or abatements, one on Stonehenge Road.
I'll make a motion to accept the bulk vote A through C.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, under new business, we have a discussion, a letter about saving the community center. Jordy Hutchinson.
Okay, good evening. My name is Jordy Hutchinson, and I'm here to talk about the community center on Laner Street. Can everyone? Yes, I will speak up. Okay, can you hear me now? Great. So it's come to my well, I was here last meeting to discuss the community center briefly, and since that time I've had a chance to meet with an architect, builder, several members of the Board of Selectmen, and would like to work together to try to come up with a plan that would postpone closing the community center and eventually demolishing it, which I understand is part of the plan proposed by the ad hoc committee of selectmen and other members. After talking to people who use the building, other residents, and also the consultants that I've brought through there, the building is in perfectly decent condition, with exception of the failure to be maintained, despite the fact that there's funds in the town capital reserve to do so. What I would propose to do is 3 things. Number 1, delay closure, or at least formal closure. You don't have to allow the groups back, but delay that till October. Number 2, to allow for cleanup of brush and other vegetation on the property to prevent further damage. And 3, to allow me or a group to have approximately a month to come up with a comprehensive plan to do this at no cost to the taxpayer. And it could be part of a larger plan. Tony Fallon, a local architect, has volunteered his services both for this part and also for if the ad hoc committee wanted to discuss a larger project in the future that might include the MED building. So anyway, that's my presentation. And you have some plans. Oh, and before I go, after refreshing the building, it would seat 83 people in table and chair setup. It would have a kitchen, and it would be brought up to code. We've had a code compliance consultant review it, and that's it.
Jody, what was you seat 83 people, and what was the second part of that?
That it would have a kitchen,
I get you.
2 ADA bathrooms, and that it would meet code.
How many ADA entrances and exits would it have?
So the one in the front would remain, the staircase on the back would be removed, and a side entrance that was ADA compliant would also be added on the side facing the MED building.
What about any additional parking? There's not a lot of parking there.
The town has plenty of land there to deal with parking, so that might be something the select board would want to address.
Determine if a legal document can be drafted that incorporates all the town's requirements and the donor's requirements. I see this proposal as an opportunity to provide seniors with a center with very little added cost to the taxpayer. It would allow the town time to conduct a needs assessment to determine what other services and building space might be needed in a future community center. I believe that the town should require a project bond, have a legal document that defines all conditions being approved, such as the total cost of the construction, whether the donation needs to be in hand prior to the project starting. This document would ensure that there is no misunderstanding. By receiving this document, there is no long-term conditions that would prevent the town from doing something else with the community center building in the future. The funds are donated to the town, and the town pays the bills, similar to the freight station project with the Lakes Region Model Railroad. The select board should hold a public hearing to hear if the public is in support of the project before holding a public hearing to accept the funds. And I went back and looked at the model railroad and the Warren articles to make sure I understood that that the town held those funds. This would help ensure transparency, educate the public on the project, and allow citizens to address any concerns and show support.
Any other comments? Jordy, you certainly will be back in touch with you.
I just want to thank Jordy. He reached out to me. We had a conversation in his office, and I think that's the right thing to do. And I appreciate having the opportunity to spend time with you.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to react to what my colleague put forward. It's an undertaking. And it's not, there's probably one or two people thinking this is a delay, but that's the right thing to do for the town. It protects both parties in the conversation. Sure. We are clear about what we need. You are clear about a deliverable. If that all can get written down on a piece of paper, it's no different than anything else we've ever done. So we're not trying to set a new precedent.
Agreed.
So I think that's the right thing to do. At least for me, there is a committee, a standing team of people that has 3 members of this board. It's unprecedented. I don't think I've ever remembered where you've had 3 board members. They're all student body right who are sitting on that team, and I think they need and owe us kind of a reaction to what to do next as well. And I think they meet tomorrow, don't they? Is it tomorrow? Yes. Yeah. So I think I like the approach, but I just think it's we don't want to get a bucket of paint and nails. We want to do this thing correctly. Thank you.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Dave, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion that we delay any closure of the Wolfeboro Community Center unless the results of the Wolfeboro Fire Department, Fire Marshal of State of New Hampshire, or our Primex Insurance Company tells us that the building needs to be closed for any safety reasons.
Is there a second? Go ahead.
I'll make a comment. My understanding is that there's no motion to close the community center, and that if there was going to be, we were going to take it up in the first meeting in October, and I'm more than willing to wait until that time and that we have a public hearing. I think that's what it's scheduled to be, and I think that's the right way to handle it.
And Mr. Chairman, may I speak?
Go ahead.
So I believe the motion didn't get a second.
Correct.
All right, and I appreciate what, again, what Linda said. There was an implication made that somehow this august group of selected people, I'm going to use the word smoke-filled room just to shorthand it. There was no smoke-filled room stuff going over there. And I agree and support the idea that this team should come back and say, recommendation either to close or not. That is independent of what Mr. Hutchinson just told us. I think they're two independent actions. So if this team comes back and makes a recommendation to the board, I'll listen to it and I'll respond to it. But there was no preordained, let's shutter it and do things. So I appreciate and respect your motion, Mr. Duché, but I think we need to hear from these people, and we can go from there.
We have another meeting tomorrow. We know that the State Fire Marshal was here this morning, so we're just going to wait for his report as well. So I think your motion's a little early. Okay? All right, next on our agenda. Make ready and line extension cost adjustment, municipal electric.
Good evening, Barry Muccio, Wolfeboro Electric Department, Director of Operations. So we've recently undertaken a review of all our non-rate work that the electric department does. So just keep in mind, folks, none of these proposed increases are anything to do with the rate structure, what you're paying for your electricity. So we have 3 billing mechanisms that we operate under and bill generally non-rate related activities. These would be rate structures such as make-ready work. Make-ready work is the work we perform to accommodate other parties, third parties, on our utility poles. So there'd be for like the cable company or any out of these third-party providers of internet, et cetera, SegTel. The second mechanism is line extensions. This is our cost to construct a new pole line, typically to new residents or for new services. And the third mechanism being basically rental fees that we charge these third-party attachees to our pole. They're obligated under contract to provide an annual rental for each pole they're attached to. And that basically recoups our cost associated with having them on the poles. So that is the intent of my request this evening. We've done a comprehensive review of all 3 of these rate structures. We have made recommendations for increases. The increases to make-ready work would amount to a 57% rate increase. The last time we looked at that was 4 years ago. It seems quite exorbitant, but the costs, specifically for material, has really been the driver of that rate increase. And so we've looked at it from the perspective of the material, the equipment cost, our labor costs, depreciation value of the vehicles, fuel, again, very comprehensively. And so we feel comfortable that increase. Basically, we're not in business to make a profit as a municipal electric department. Our intent is to cover our costs. So I'd just like to add that as a precursor to all these adjustments. The intent is to cover our costs and to make these costs to be them cost neutral to all the other ratepayers in the system and on the system. So nobody's picking up the tab other than the folks benefiting from these costs. The second one being line extensions, construction to new homes. We've done those calculations. It equates to a 48% proposed increase in that line extension cost. And the third one being pole attachment fees, which actually represents an 89% increase, yet that would be over a time frame. We haven't adjusted that in over 10 years, so there's a little more time associated with those increases. Sort of the large-scale overview there. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain those. And many times we do these rate increases on the fly, I would say, because of the nature of our work. If somebody comes to us tomorrow and we know a transformer went up, $1,000, we simply pass that along. But due to the nature of my second agenda item tonight, I think it makes sense right now to look at it as a whole, so we can, number one, get our rates where they should be for these construction projects, and then we'll address some of those other requests.
Questions?
Mr. Chairman, I called Barry and we had a chat about this. I just wanted to understand the magnitude of the increases. Looks like, and what he's shared with us, his costs look like about a 5% per annum, which probably makes a whole bunch of sense given that the cost of poles and all the stuff that you got to do. So I'm not commenting in any way, but supporting the recommendation. But I was surprised that I asked Barry, are you seeing a pretty steady flow of people who want to attach to our poles? And he said, yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on out there, third-party providers that are attaching to our poles. And I'm not seeing it in the neighborhoods. I think what we're seeing is a lot of people attaching. Are they attaching on Main Street, or are they attaching in the neighborhoods?
So generally, attachment requests that we see are going to be for the main thoroughfare.
Yeah.
We've had requests, but we haven't gone there yet. But for some of our main line, South Main, North Main, Center Street, those main arteries.
So this whole area here is like a transit. This is a super highway of internet and cable stuff going through Wolfeboro, not necessarily terminating in our town, but heading in from Alton or heading in from Tuftonboro and going someplace else. So we're busy in here, just like the streets with the cars on it. We're busy up on the poles. That's all I wanted to say, and I support what you want to do, Barry.
So if I can give you a little bit of an actual financial impact to us, if in the course of a year we average $200,000 income or revenue, I should say, from these revenue streams, these attachments, this make-ready work, that would be typically a couple $100,000. The increases proposed would equate to approximately $120,000 additional monies for those services. So again, the fee structures are aimed strictly at the folks specifically who are requesting this work.
Yeah, I felt that this was very well laid out. I could see how if you were increasing, and then the prices were 2021, which were increasing, and we all know the rate of inflation during that period of time. Are you planning to have this on your webpage, on the town website, in case somebody would like to look at it? I mean, we see these charts, but the public doesn't get an
I mean,
opportunity.
we'd be glad to. A lot of times for the average folks out there, they don't ever actually utilize these type of fee structures. It will get embedded into our tariff, and that is posted. So, but I'd be glad to.
Yeah, I think people are saying we aren't communicating well.
Okay.
And then
all right,
this, it's
Yeah,
one place we can go, and if somebody might be curious.
I'd be glad to.
Okay.
I'd be glad to. It's not that big a deal to do that, no. So what I'm asking tonight is that we'd like to do an implementation of this commencing October 1st. That will allow us to get our rates in place, get our notifications out to our third parties of the adjustments to their contracts for 2026, because there's a time frame we have to sort of
Dave,
notify.
do you need a motion?
Yeah.
John?
So how much room is there on the poles, and what do you do with competition of demand?
So, because of some FCC regulations and whatnot, if somebody comes in, we have to at least entertain them. If somebody wants to attach to a pole that has no room for it, though, John, this is where these make-ready charges, come in. So if they come in, we have a 40-foot pole, but we don't have room for them. Each party needs X number of feet of space. If we can't fulfill that, that requesting party has to pay for a new pole being set, a taller pole, to provide the room. And so that's where those make-ready charges come in play.
So those are description task number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where you increase the pole height.
Not only that, but each one of those tasks represents potentially something we would have to do for a third party.
Right.
If we have to change the top of the pole configuration to accommodate, each one of them represents, and that make-ready list you have right there will go right into our contract. There's one in there now, and then this one will replace it.
So when you go down Main Street, they're all at the same level.
Right.
So what would happen if somebody wanted to get on all of them? You would have to replace all of the poles?
Well, they're not, we'd actually go out there with a measuring stick and make that determination. If one party can move, can we move up? Can the phone company move down on the pole, still meet their minimum height to allow that to take place?
So what's
Everybody would have to move accordingly unless there's no room to do that move, and that's where the new pole comes in play.
So what would trigger, who would be coming to trigger that?
I have had a couple of parties, I don't know if I can name them off the top of my head, just from TDS is a company that's approached me recently, wanting to express through town.
What do they do?
Anybody who wants to
66.
provide fiber service.
Right.
Anybody who wants to hang a fiber pipe.
Generally, they're
It could
all
be,
fiber.
as big as those AT and Willow, and it could be a small startup.
I'm just trying to get an idea for the public to say, these are our poles that through this MED, and we're offering it to these many people.
So they're actually, all our poles in our franchise area are not just owned by us. They're 50% owned with Consolidated Communications, the phone company. They have a very similar contract with each provider, as well. They have a make-ready list very similar to us. So it's not just us that can make that determination. It's both phone and us.
All right, thank you.
But we certainly, as a municipally owned organization, and I think you folks always should, have a say on who do you want to come in town. Like, I would highly dissuade adding more wires in our downtown area. We're trying to limit that. So anybody that comes and requests and is serious about it, I'm going to make them come to you folks. I'm going to put it on you folks. I'm not going to approve somebody else through the downtown, and I've expressed that.
I think we call that.
It really should be on you guys to say you'd want it or not.
I think we call that an Olay.
Maybe.
Olay.
Yeah.
Now, you may be restricted in what you can say no to. You may decide you can come in Wolfeboro, but you're not going to take this route. You're going to take this route to get them, that's, so it's only going to get worse unless somebody comes up with a better system than fiber wire out there, huh?
Need a motion?
Let's do it.
Yes.
All right, move to accept the make-ready pricing, the line extension costs, and the pole attachment fees as presented by the director of the Wolfeboro MED to be instituted October 1st.
Second.
Can I just ask on that, can you refer to the September 12th memo?
Okay.
Because it puts it all.
All right,
As outlined in the
as
September 12th
outlined
memo.
on the
How is
September
that?
12th, 2025 memo.
Second
Thank
again.
you.
We have a second?
Yeah, will do.
Oh. All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Barry.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Barry.
you.
Next.
So I'm here for the next agenda item. I don't know if you want to announce it or I just continue on.
Approval of Orchard's electrical distribution upgrade, municipal electric.
Thank you. So I have been approached by the Orchards Road Association, not just recently, this has been ongoing deliberations we've talked. The Orchards is a private underground development. The underground primary over there is all privately owned. It's at a life cycle now where it's approaching the end of its life cycle. It was put in, I'm assuming in the early to mid 80s, most of it. So we're up against the dilemma where we have a lot of these private underground developments, whereas the folks, in order to replace the underground, are going to be faced with absorbent cost in excavating throughout the developments because there's no pipe in the ground to simply pull wire out and put new in. There's no pipe. The wires are laid directly in the ground, in the earth. And so the cost of excavation, installing conduits, installing transformer vaults, concrete structures is, as you can imagine, absorbently high. We've had folks such as the Orchards approach us and ask about, can we put in an overhead system, an overhead pole and wire system to replace our underground, because they've looked at pricing. They know what the cost would be to excavate. They've got a general idea. It's probably 3-4 times as expensive to do that. Well, when we looked at that, for us in-house to construct close to a mile of new overhead with our staffing, our equipment, that would be extremely tough for us to do in-house and do all the other things we need to do, respond to outages and our daily service work. So we recognize that we don't really have a policy in place in our tariff that would accommodate a situation of that magnitude, putting in a mile of overhead pole lines. How do we do that in-house with our staff? And if we can't do that, how do I possibly bill for a line extension of that nature in a manner that, again, would be cost neutral to our other ratepayers? So in that, and we've also recognized that we're going to set a precedence for many of these private developments in town. We have numerous ones of a similar nature where they own the primary electric and they know it's at that 40, 45-year-old lifespan. So in that, we established a policy that we feel is fair to all ratepayers. It's also fair to the folks that live in there, have been loyal customers for 40 years, some of these places. They've been paying the same rates as everybody else, yet their primary is private. It's not like you get a rate break because you have a private underground like you would if it was a tax bill or something. So with that, we established a policy which I presented to you folks with the premise that we would undertake the first 1,500 feet, and we would construct that at our current line extension rate, which, as you've just accepted, the new rate would be $24.50 a foot. So we would charge them $24.50 a foot for the first 1,500 feet, which is something we can handle in-house. 1,500 feet, 7 poles, we can handle something of that nature. Once you get over that 1,500 feet, what we would provide is the option for us to go out, bid the project to a private contractor, and pass along the cost of the private contractor for the additional footage beyond 1,500 feet to the association. And so that's what we're proposing. We have other things in that policy. Most of them are how we would interconnect, how we deal with services and whatnot. And one of the things that I'm glad Paul had brought it up, we don't mention the option that if folks really have an underground development, they want to continue to have an underground development. I don't necessarily note that in there, but that option is always, I mean, we would prefer that. We would always prefer an underground development stays underground. It's less, storm damage, wind damage, trees down. But we just recognize the increased cost of that is just, a lot of these developments just aren't going to have that money in their coffers, so.
Dave? What about a hybrid system where poles go up, and if houses are underground, everybody is responsible for their own service line from the pole to the house in an underground fashion, but the town would be in charge of the poles and all the lines connecting from pole to pole? Could that ever be done?
Well, you always have that option even now where we don't own, and there's a lot of services out there that are privately owned. Heck, the one at my house, it's privately owned. I put it in. So anybody has that option anywhere in the country. The downside of that is if something fails in your service, you're not calling us at midnight because we're going to tell you it's not ours. I'm sorry. You're going to have to go hunt down an electrician. So a lot of folks, that's a deciding factor in having their service owned by the utility. So those hybrid situations exist everywhere, though. You're right.
Yeah. So again, on the call I had with Barry, my question to Barry was, wouldn't you prefer, if it was in place, to have underground a conduit system? And you just heard him say, yeah, trees don't fall on underground conduit, which is good. But you're going to give the client, if they want us to do something, you give them the choice of going aerial throughout their area. But if they want conduit, not just direct burial, conduit, it's on their nickel to open up the trench, provide the conduit under your supervision?
Correct. So that's where the cost is all about. Excavation.
That's where it gets really expensive.
Which we don't do.
And the reason I asked that, Barry, is your first 1,500 feet, going back to what we just said it was okay for you to do, that's aerial, isn't it? Those prices are aerial prices.
If those folks opted to go underground, they opted to pay for the ditch, the conduit, the vaults.
It would be the same price.
It would actually be, under our new rate adjustment, it'd actually be a little cheaper.
Okay.
Because we're just pulling wire and making terminations. We're not doing pole work and all the extensive.
In all truthfulness, it'd be a little cheaper on your side, but, opening it up and putting conduit in, big numbers.
But that's not for direct burial, that's for lines already in conduits, correct?
No, no, it's for direct burial. I mean, you could be $50, $60 a foot to put conduits in the ground right now. I mean, it's a lot of money. Then that's not even talking about hitting ledge or not meeting the depth requirements and requiring concrete, and that's above and beyond what our 2450 is. So. Okay.
So these groups have known for a long time that they've needed their wires. So have they approached the town to possibly consider a betterment assessment on their taxes I don't know how, if that's a firewall between the town and the MED, or what's the story there?
So we did look into that, John. We looked at, well, it wouldn't necessarily be on the taxes, because it would be the electric rate, not the tax rate. We actually talked to town council about that. There is not a mechanism where you can apply a betterment assessment to a utility,
Water line.
To an electrical
to an
utility.
electrical utility. I'm sorry, I think of water is, there's a.
Water and sewer, yes.
Yeah, but Nathan informed us that does not exist as a, because we thought the same thing. Well, that's maybe one way we could, ease the funding, but it's not.
So the cost of $24 a foot, does that include the installation of a $1,100 pole for a mile?
So we don't charge per pole that flat rate footage. If it takes us 5 poles to get there, or if it takes us 7 poles, it's flat rate. We incorporate, I can show you how we calculate it.
But that was just for the 1,500 feet. So when they go to bid after the 1,500 feet for the rest of the 5,000 feet, how are they being charged by the other subcontractor?
So we'll, this is kind of confusing, but we would allow folks, if they don't want me to municipally manage the additional 1,500 feet, if they want to go out, seek pricing, and all be on them, they can do that. They have to build it to our standards, because I think you'll find in the PUC of the state of New Hampshire, that's always an option. We don't have to follow that rule, but I think we'll offer it, why not? But if they choose to have us municipally manage a private third-party contractor, that would all be passed on directly, whatever that charge was to them. If it's $20,000, it's $20,000. We simply pass that along. We'll have to figure out, and I think we've talked about it. I have talked with Jim about a mechanism by either they do a direct pay back to the department, or we do an acceptance of a gift. I mean, there's ways to do that, but ultimately they would be paying for everything. I will allow them the option if they so think they can get a better price, or get a better price on materials. If they think that's an option, would allow it. They have to build it to our standards. But
So the project's about $1 million then, isn't it?
say that again, I'm
The
sorry.
project's about $1 million.
So this project in particular, we're carrying a $400,000 budget. That's what we have on the CIP. Yeah, I've yet to actually get a third-party pricing for the additional work beyond the 1,500 feet, but we're pretty confident in our per foot rate that we've just set of what that overage would be for a third party. So
So what do you want from us tonight?
I'd like you to accept the policy, which states how we would handle a private development seeking basically an overhead system to be installed and taken over and managed municipally. So we would own it after, if it was constructed to our standards, we would take ownership of it. So.
Any other questions?
Would you like a motion?
Yeah.
I move to approve the policy for upgrading election within the existing private development as presented to the Board of Selectmen at the September 17th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Barry.
No.
Thank you.
We got one
4
more.
to 1. Yeah.
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Did he say no?
I got it.
Did John say no? Was John a no vote? Did you no vote this?
Go ahead.
So as my third and last agenda item, I'd like to give you an update on where we stand with some of our capital projects. It's been a bit since I've done that with you folks, so it'd be a good time while I'm here anyway. We might as well give that update. So we currently have 3 outstanding capital projects on our books. The first one being, believe it or not, the ME3 bucket truck, which was put out to bid in April of 2024. It was a 2024 capital request, which was approved, warrant article. We did the bid opening in May of 2024. It was awarded to Allegiance Truck and James A. Kiley. So Allegiance Truck won the bid for the chassis and the cab, and then the body, the aerial device, and the boom and the aerial device, the body, the cabinets, all that stuff was awarded to James A. Kiley Company of Somerville, Mass. So two very common players in the bucket truck world. Believe it or not, it's still not done. So we haven't received this truck yet. We knew it was going to be a couple-year process, and they held to that schedule. So we're in waiting mode. I hope we'll have it in February of this year. If we look at actually the monies, we had a $400,000 project, $400,000 budget for that project. The body, the chassis and cab came in at $116,000. We did subtract what they're giving us for a trade-in, which is $15,000. So the net cost of the cab and chassis was $102,822. Unfortunately, the body came in, the body boom equipment came in a little over what we anticipated at $316,921. So we have an overage there of $18,113. Those monies of the overage would include the upfitting of the truck with equipment, which in 2024, we did a line item transfer out of our operating supplies, the surplus we had in operating supplies, out of our operating budget versus the capital budget, which we can't overexpend. So that overage was covered within that line item, the 610 line item. Any questions about the truck? We're waiting, and we're putting money into the old one to keep it running daily, so I hope it gets here sooner versus later. But the second project was a 2025 capital project. It was to actually install a ceiling down there at our garage at the Armory versus the floating insulation, we'll call it, that's down there now, and it's falling quite continuously. We put bids out in April 29th. We opened bids in end of May. The contract award is the PC Construction of Portland, Maine. The material, it was a design build situation. We thought originally it would be a sort of a roofing material we were looking for. After weighing some of the weights and some of what would require the framing, the underframing substructure that would be required for that, we received a proposal for it's actually a polymer type ceiling panel. It's made by Trustcore. Very light, high strength, does not have the weight that you would deal or require the substructure framing to support a more, a rigid material or a metal material or a sheetrock material. So it's similar to what they put in hockey rinks. They put them in large-scale field houses. So it's made for this type of application. I think it'd be perfect and clean the place up. That's supposed to start in September 29th. So hopefully here in another week or two, they're going to start. I think it's going to be about a month process. We'll have that buttoned up. We are currently under budget. The price for the ceiling came in at, $65,000, $64,900. We do anticipate anytime you put a ceiling up, that we're going to have to deal with any of the electrical utility boxes, lights. So we're going to need to spend some money on the electrical end to pad out the boxes so that they continue to be, have access to meet code compliance. We're going to have to move some fans, anyways, we'll have to do some utility stuff, and we recognize it's probably going to be, $12,000, $15,000 that we'll have involved with that. So we still hope to be under budget. It appears we will be, and looking forward to getting that done. A third project, which has been ongoing, is the Melody and Kenniston Island upgrades. This is a 2025 capital project. Currently, we have our New Hampshire DES shoreland permits in place. We went through that process. We have those in place. We got those in March. We have been doing, I got the bright idea to do the field engineering in-house. Kind of kicking myself a bit for that, but it's been a project, and so that's why we're a little delayed. But so we did all the engineering in-house. We have done all the field work. Hope to have the RFP out here another week or two, with anticipation of awarding it and having construction start as soon as ice is out in the spring. We're probably looking at a 30-day project once we get it started. So that's, I'm not going to tell you it's exactly on track. It's a little delayed, but we still will be done in 2026 as anticipated. So far, we really haven't spent any money. Besides, we have encumbered money for some directional boring, which we have to do at the shoreline, which was why we needed the shoreland permits. We're going to do some directional boring to eliminate a pole that's extremely bad shape right on the shoreline. If you look at it, you're going to think it's going to fall over anytime. So that's the three open ones I have. Everything else we've done. I know we're 2-3 years old, but we had Turtle Island, we had Phase 5, Phase 6 construction projects. Those are all completed. We just recently, last fall, completed some of the landscaping upgrades down at the substation. I don't know if you've noticed it, but that was the final portion of that where we've added some shading in the chain link fence to soften the look there, and we've added some arborvitaes, the small ones. We've done some mulching. Paul's laughing; he doesn't like it, but I think it looks much better, and I'd like to thank Parks and Rec for maintaining that for us. So
Questions?
that's all I have.
Yeah, again, are you going to put this on your webpage so people, public can go to it?
We certainly will. Yeah.
Thank you.
If you'd like that.
Any other questions for Barry?
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay, next on our agenda is facility use agreement for Pop Whalen. Discussion.
Good evening, Brian Paul, Operations Manager, Pop Whalen. Come to you with a couple items. The first one is the facility agreement. This agreement originally was used in the past as the ice agreement that would be sent out every time someone wanted to rent the ice. In my professional opinion, this is a big waste of paper to put all these pages every time someone wants to rent a sheet of ice, or if we alter their ice agreement, that has to be resent out and re-signed every time. So what I wanted to do is separate it out so that it's a one time per year for our major groups to sign off saying that they will understand the facility rules, policies, and requirements to rent ice at the Pop Whalen.
My only question was, can you put the title on it so that everybody understands it's a facility use agreement document?
Yeah, we can add that.
And I'm assuming there's a separate signing off on the number of hours they're committed to?
Next part of the next agenda item.
That's the next thing.
What's the next thing?
Well, it looked like it was only, I looked at that, but it looked like it was only one,
Well,
and you
what-
take
so what I gave you was a blank one.
25.
I have a copy of one that already has been used so that you would be able to see how it would look
Okay.
with,
See, I only had one date and one time, so I was looking,
Linda, you got more data. So Brian, if I, Dave? So for the users, and we have a couple down at the back, I mean, why would you not want to make this thing simpler? Is there a pushback? You guys have any on facility use? Anybody have a?
so I'll be honest with you. This
Try that.
is, I've worked at many other rinks. What I showed for the second thing
Yeah.
is what everybody uses. This has not been used by anybody else that I've ever used. I didn't know who, it's, I'm just following what has been done in the past
What's been
and
your
trying
experience?
to alter it and make it a little more user-friendly.
So we could phase out this facility use agreement eventually and go with just...
Ultimately, I would love to phase it out today. But that's up to you guys to decide. Because a lot of the stuff that's in this policy basically just says, make sure you behave yourself in the building. Make sure you don't vandalize the building. Make sure you have a certificate of insurance. Well, most of our groups, except for a very few, we would actually ask them for it anyway, but USA Hockey, certified groups like Back Bay Hockey, that's an automatic, that their USA sanctioning number automatically certificates them for insurance. Our figure skating program, which is ISI certified, that's an automatic certificate of insurance for their programs. The only ones that really would be Brewster Academy. We'd get a certificate of insurance from them anyway, or any of the other major Lakes Region curling, stuff like that, would get a certificate of insurance because they don't have a national body that certifies them.
What if a individual, just a private individual, has a birthday party or something there?
So that's covered under their homeowner's insurance. So we would not ask for a certificate of insurance on that. It has never, I'll be,
Wouldn't you want to make sure that they have homeowners insurance? Because they don't, they need to be covered too?
I guess the answer is yes. I mean, we can add that to this policy and say, with proof of insurance.
Is that what we want to do?
yeah, I guess does just for the month of August. So are our users signing up per month? Or
So
would-
that happened to be, the one you're looking at that I just gave you happened to be the Thunderbird camp that Back Bay ran.
Okay.
So it was a separate thing. So as a group one, they will get a very long one for
Okay,
the whole
'cause that's-
season.
That's why I'm here about the cancellation policy, because sometimes they sign up for a big, huge amount, and then they come down and they start canceling things out.
Right.
So how do we then wouldn't have had time to have gotten another user.
Correct. So
So-
that's why the 30-day policy is in there, that if they sign it and
Okay,
within,
I sign it now, and I'm decided I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do...
but if it's
that.
less than 30 days, you're responsible for payment for that ice.
I'm talking in advance. I sign up for it. I
Yeah.
see who I have on my roster.
Yeah.
I've signed up for too much. So now I start sending it back, which doesn't really give us a whole lot of time to
It's
rent
standard.
that ice.
It's pretty much standard practice across all ice arenas that you have a 30-day out for, let's say you do a tournament. Let's just use a tournament as an example. Well, you're expecting 100 teams. Well, only 75 sign up, so you don't need all that ice. So you're giving it back. Now, within 30 days, in most locations, we're a little bit of an exception where it's a little harder to find users out there, but that gives you 30 days to go out and try to find somebody to try to take that ice, or sometimes for us, I'll put an extra public skate on, or I'll put on an extra public stick time on to help defer those costs that we're possibly losing.
I just, you know, let's say I start a team and I sign up for all of these hours. I slot them out throughout the year. And then I start, oh, well, maybe I want to get rid of my Tuesdays, you know?
Yep.
So then that
Just puts more pressure on me to have to go out and sell that ice to somebody else.
all right, if you're
Now, the
comfortable
other
with
thing
that,
with,
yeah,
the other thing with that is that with the only ambiance I put onto this is that schools, Kingswood Regional, Brewster, due to weather-related activities, we usually will waive the 30-day if they have to cancel school and cannot do a school activity, that we will not charge them for the ice if they cannot have after-school activities for weather-related or other
Force majeure.
reasons due to, that's not of their doings.
Linda, would you be more comfortable if the cancellation policy was more than 30 days?
I just was questioning, I'm glad he's explaining how, and he's willing to take the responsibility of trying to fill those hours, and that makes sense to you, and other ones didn't. He's answered my questions.
Okay.
Those are my questions.
My flash reaction to that is the more, if it's longer, the risk goes up on this side. So the first document you proffered here is kind of here's how we want you to behave. We're okay. I'm way out in front. I'm not intimate with this, how this operates. Are we okay with this, Jim? Are you okay with this?
Yeah, so as Brian alluded to, we've used this for a number of years now, and it really was a document that would come in for every time ice time was booked.
So we want to not
So
wallpaper
I think
the
this is
place.
a parent document with his supporting document to show them, the users, booking their time out in that format that he has laid out. Certainly makes this a much easier process for Brian, and I think it makes it clear for the users and for the town.
And then the second, I think, which is where I think my colleague was going, there's a policy that says if you're inside a 30-day window and you cancel, things have to happen. We're not changing that. You're just trying to put a piece of paper in front of people that say, here's the policy. Or are we having a policy conversation tonight?
So the second piece of paper, this one here, is actually just a blank form that, where it says date, time, I would list every date and time that they're booking, and they'll sign off saying, yes, I agree, I want to buy this ice. Now, if it's less than 30 days out and they say, we're not going to use that ice, I will say one of two things to them. If I can resell it to somebody else, I'll let you out of it. If not, you're responsible for paying for that ice. If the answer is, if it's past the 30 days, yes, you have your out in the contract to get out of that ice time without paying for it. And then it's my responsibility to go find someone to fill that ice.
You're comfortable.
Got it. Thank you.
Fine.
Yep.
Food trucks.
We all set with that? Do we
Do we
want to make a
need-
motion?
Yeah, do we need a motion?
Yep.
So do we want to keep, board, do we want to keep this facility use agreement for this time right now?
I would make the recommendation at this time we do.
Okay. So I'd make a recommendation, motion that we keep the facility use agreement as written for the Pop Whalen Arts and Ice Center.
Second.
Somebody second that?
Yeah, Paul did.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
And I'll make a second motion that, that we institute the ice rental agreement ice time rental agreement as presented by Brian Paul to this board at the meeting today.
I'll second it.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next on our agenda,
Food trucks.
food trucks.
So in front of you today, I'm back regarding the food truck procedure. We did make one edit to the food truck procedure that was originally proposed to you. And that is that we are limiting the number of food trucks in the winter months that will go between December 1st and April 1st to a maximum of 2 due to the lack of parking available at the arena and ski lodge due to snow and everything else that's going on at both those facilities, where then between April 1st and December 1st, we would stick to the maximum of 6. We've also provided a map as you requested. Basically, what it's trying to show you there, and I apologize for the, I guess, limited mapping, is that in the summertime, we would try to do like we did with the Food Truck Fridays, which we would block off the side of the Pop Whalen Arena up towards Abenaki so that it's only for walking traffic only, and have the food trucks up in that area. Or if it's a Pop Whalen specific event, like a flea market or something, they could park up front, not blocking the handicap accessible areas for parking. And then in the wintertime, we would either fit one up behind the lodge, not blocking the handicap accessible, as well as up towards the maintenance building up in that area.
Okay. Yeah, I caught it at the end. You're going to maintain the handicap accessibility behind the Abenaki Lodge.
Correct. There's
And
two,
then
there's
you're
two
gonna-
spots, there's 2 spots that are
Okay.
there all the way to the back of the parking lot behind the lodge. Those would be still handicap accessible.
Yeah. And then you'll move what you were going to park there over in front of the maintenance building.
Correct.
So there should be another square. So, and it may be that this has been changed, but I also, in front of the ice skating ring, the Pop, it looks like where you're going to park the truck, there are also some handicap.
That's, as you see in the, for the summer months, if there was a summer thing, I try to do color coordinated for you. There is 4 handicap spots. They will be to the, if you're looking at the building, to the left of those handicap spots. There would be the 4 handicap spots. We would leave a blank parking spot to give us the 10 feet between, that's required between the handicap spots and a food truck, because parking spots they're approximately 10 feet.
So you're telling me in front of the building, none of those are handicap spots?
The ones that we're blocking off, no.
No. Okay, that's what I couldn't tell. It looked
Yes.
from the map it was. I'm
And
fine
yellow
then.
is summer and green is winter.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay,
I just.
got it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Good job. Thank you,
Thank you,
Brian.
Brian.
Do we need this?
Don't we have to approve the food truck procedures?
Yep. Second.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, next on our agenda is a discussion, Friends of Kingswood Hockey locker room agreement.
I need to step down.
This is to be tabled, Mr. Chairman.
What's that?
We were going to table this.
Okay.
Can I ask for one thing in regards to this as almost a gap measure while this is being tabled?
Well, we're going to table it, Brian, so that means probably not going to take any discussion unless somebody wants to open it. Otherwise, we'll have to wait.
Yeah. I'm going to move to table. If that's what you, Jim, you said you wanted to table this?
That is correct. I can talk with Brian about the other item.
And in the conversation, could we listen to what his gap measure is? Are you okay with that?
If you do that, I'm going to go sit.
During public comment or this, at this point.
Listen to his gap measure. I mean, we're going to vote on the motion that I think you want, Jim, is to table, but I'd like to listen to what your gap measure is, and we can,
So if the motion is to table, I'll second it.
thank you.
So my gap measure is one of the big items in this is regarding access to the building. What I like to propose is a building access policy.
Okay. Okay. So we have a motion to table. This does not relate to the motion to table. It does, but it doesn't. We probably should just vote on the motion to table, and I don't know, Brian, because you've been in the middle of this, do we want to take this up, or Dave, can we take up this thing, or not?
Well, I think this looks more like a policy thing, which may be able to be resolved between the rec department and the town manager rather than us, unless you feel we should. I mean, this seems like it's...
Let's call the question on motion to table.
It's not imminent, is it?
Let's call the
It's
question
not
on the
imminent
motion to
right
table.
now, is it? No.
Well, this was an issue that was an ongoing issue with the Friends of Kingswood regarding their locker room. And I'm just trying to put it so that it's in writing, in public, so that we're not having the same issue as the season's coming up to us in the next month.
I agree with Dave. This should be between you and Jim Pinio as a procedure. I don't mind reading it into the record, and then Jim can decide with Brian if this is a procedure that they want to put in place, and if they need to bring it back to us, they can.
I agree with that. I call the
vote on the
question.
motion first.
I call the question to table.
Okay, all those in favor of tabling the agreement?
Aye. And I respect and appreciate that, what my colleague wants to do. Let's read
Brian,
it
you
out.
want to read the
I'll read it
memo?
in.
Read it in.
To Select Board from Brian Paul, Pop Whalen, Operation Manager, date September 17, 2025, rebuilding access policy. And that is the policy, the building access policy for the Pop Whalen facility. I hereby request the Select Board of the Town of Wolfeboro approve the following policy for the Pop Whalen Ice and Art Center. Only paid employees of the Pop Whalen Ice and Art Center and Parks and Recreation are allowed to have keys to access the Pop Whalen Ice and Art Center. These keys will be given out by the Pop Whalen Ice and Art Center Operation Director and/or Park and Recreation Director at their discretion.
And I agree.
Thank
That's
you.
between you guys and the town manager, and he can get back to us.
That's a policy. I don't think we need to get involved in. Thank you. Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
All right, next on our agenda, approval of water use restrictions, Public Works.
Oh, my God.
Steve?
Good evening, Steve Randall, Director of Public Works, Water and Sewer Utilities. So I'm here tonight to talk about instituting some water restrictions. We are well on our way into severe drought stages. So got a little memo here I'll read off. We'd like to impose some water restrictions till further notice. Like every other lake and pond around us, Upper Beach Pond is significantly low. At this time, the pond is down 30 inches, dropping about 1 to 2 inches a week. Full pond level is 983 feet above sea level. Currently, we're at 980 and a half. Intake is 20 feet below full lake level surface. However, the system is gravity. Josh can only go as low as pipeline's highest point, which is the gate valve at the pond that connects the intake, the dual 12-inch mains down to the plant at approximately 976 and a half. So that's still 3.5 feet. As you know, once he exceeds that level, he'll no longer have any head flow down into the plant. So as we're getting later in the season, and the state has declared that we are in a moderate drought. Now, I believe that that drought report comes out tomorrow, the updated one. We're fairly confident that we might move into severe at that point, so we're trying to be a little proactive with this. Trying to be conservative now instead of, you know, seeing what we could have done at a later date. So according to the weather stations at the plant, we've received about 2 inches of rain in the last 3 months. So depending on which engineering study, which I think was referenced earlier, and I apologize, we haven't been able to actually find that study. We think it might be in one of the old computers from prior. We were able to find notes and things, but Josh's plan is based off of that report. But to give you the report that you had asked to sandwich behind this, that we can't do. But
I'm fine. Kind of dealt with.
so we're basically where we're at right now. That report states safe yield for the pond is somewhere between, you know, 650 and 712,000 gallons a day. And safe yield is water to be withdrawn from the storage and replenished over time. From June to today, we've been actually pulling out about 775,000 gallons, which is obviously peak time. So what we have done is taken that gallons per day and balanced that with actual pond level to come up with a working model to when we need to start to pay attention to pond level. And that's where we are today, which is we need to start to reel that in a little bit. You know, where we are middle of September, lawn season is pretty well starting to drop off. We don't expect this to be too much of a burden, hopefully, but it needs to be done. So we are looking for your support on that front.
Do you have any questions? Linda?
I just want to thank Steve for writing and getting this memo done. This is the answer to all the questions that I sent out by email today. Of the restrictions that we can put on, which one are you asking us to do?
So we're going to go with, you know, watering of lawns. That's probably the biggest one. Anything to do with excessive out of normal use water. So we'll send out some flyers, we'll put up our signboards, we'll do as many things as we can to gain some reasonable headway. You know, we've been doing leak detection, we just fixed the leak the other day. So ongoing on that end as well. So it's not, we're trying to do our part, we're just gonna ask everybody to just be conservative.
Okay, so we're gonna restrict the outside watering?
Yes.
Okay, but we're not going to prohibit the washing of cars and boats by non-commercial?
So non-commercial, not at this point. I don't think we need to do that.
Okay, we're not going down there,
Yeah.
okay.
Especially being what time it is with people pulling their boats and things out. We don't want to trying to cripple too much.
So can you tell the public very clear and concisely what right now will be under restriction?
Good.
Outside water usage is the one.
So outside water usage would be washing your house.
Pressure washing your houses, watering your lawns, anything along that nature. If you want to wash your car, but don't wash 50 cars. Don't put up a commercial project in your yard and wash 50 cars.
Okay.
Wash a car.
I thank Linda for asking the question about commercial. So we are not, at this point, saying to a commercial operator, whether I'm running a marina or I'm running a car wash.
No, those are fine right now.
We're not in that space.
Correct. We are not there. We are not looking to shut down any businesses by any stretch. We are looking for the regular average person.
So we're picking on us residents.
Right. We're picking on the residents to just have a little bit of
Judgment.
Judgment on what it is that you're doing, so that we don't have to get to the shut everything off.
Got it.
So we're asking them to restrict their outdoor water use.
Yes.
We're not prohibiting.
No,
We're
right now
We're asking them to restrict.
at this point we're asking to restrict. If we continue to get worse, then we will move to prohibit. But right now we are at restrict.
That's a good way to put it, Linda. So folks, we got to sign up and volunteer, or
then we have to make the decision.
or Steve will visit you.
And just one clarification, Josh did this, not me.
Yeah.
So
Brian?
So
Josh does all the work.
do we need a motion,
Thanks,
Jim, for
Josh.
this?
Yeah.
So, as you're aware, this hit yesterday mid-morning. According to Town Code, under 167.6, declaration of a water supply shortage, you as the Board of Selectmen should make a motion to declare a water supply shortage. I think from that point, Steve and Josh, we can get this stuff on the webpage, and then from that point, if we've got to come back to you next week asking for greater restrictions, we will do that as needed with a 24-hour notice if it's required.
All right, I'll be the bad guy. So I will say, as of 9/17/2025, per instructions from Josh Thomas and Steve Randall, the Water Director and the Director of our Public Works Department, we will have a water restriction for outside use of water until further notice.
Second?
Do we have to declare a water shortage
Yes,
by the, I thought you
if
said
somebody
that.
could add that in, that would be
And,
wonderful.
and declare water shortage.
Okay, and declare a water shortage.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
So can I ask Steve a question? So, years ago, we had a discussion about drawing water from Clark Point, the deepest part of the lake, 100 feet. Do we need to reconsider that?
I don't think so, John. Mostly for the cost of that would be astronomical. And from near as I could tell, the last time we did this was almost 10 years ago.
2004 was the big,
So there was some stuff from 2016 that we found. So
but I think what John is referring
Yes.
to was 2004,
Yes.
because we had a bunch of them, and that's when we, probably somewhere's in my files, I can find that design for that station out on Clark Road, and the,
I
yeah,
don't.
and the pipes are that big in order to be able to do that.
I don't think we're there, John. If this were to happen, if our weather changes enough, right? So last year we had plenty of rain, was non-issue, things like that. We've obviously in a drought this year. Anybody that's seen the lakes will tell you the same thing. If we continue on this path, then I think maybe we start to have a discussion on a secondary source of water. But for right now,
We're not there.
we're not there. We do have what Linda brought up. We do have some of those things. I've talked, I believe it was Underwood that had done that. I've seen that. I've talked with them.
Yeah,
So,
because
it's
that was
there.
that was the plan that
Yes.
we gave DES to get rid of the moratorium, was a safe yield, and it gave steps, and at a certain point, we got to a certain level, we needed to look at a second water source, and that allowed us to get out of the water moratorium in about 2007.
Okay.
So this is the second year in a row where our lake is down almost 3 feet.
So last year, our plant at Beach Pond and everything, we had no issues with water level last year up there. Obviously, Winnie was down a little bit last year. Lake Wentworth was down 6 inches for the majority of last year. So that is a huge difference in 2 feet. So I think that's something for a long-term conversation maybe, but we already have that stuff in play. So whether to pull the trigger to do that based on a year's worth of drought or even 2 years worth of drought, I'm not so sure about that one.
2004, Melvin Bay was a mud flat.
Yeah.
Well, we went through those years, and then we had a rainy season, and
Correct.
and
And it
everything
fixes-
filled back up, and we weren't able.
And to some extent, it's not huge gallons, mind you, but we are also much more proactive in our leak detection and fixing, and our plans going forward with that will help identify some of the internal fixes that we can work on to solve some of our water loss on that front as well.
So what about expansion of growth in our town?
So expansion of growth is a whole secondary option. We have limitations to that anyway. And when we get that report through, we can explain that a little bit better. But, we do have limitations based on our plants, both plants, our infrastructure and all of those things have limitations to them. So it's not just as easy as throwing on another half a mile of water main for somewhere. It's still getting it there. So that would have to come into play at some point, depending on what the future expansion would look like for the town.
Thank you.
Right. I'm fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Next on our agenda is the Highway Safety Grant, Wolfeboro Police Department.
So you have in front of you a memo from Captain Libby. This is a follow-up to a grant that you previously approved. However, the language that was utilized for the adoption was not correct. Therefore, I believe you have in front of you updated language which outlines what is being requested for the statement.
Do we need to make a motion or accept this or anything, Jim? Or is this just for our information?
You need to make a motion.
I can take a whack at it. I make a motion to amend the select board vote in majority on June 4th, 2025 to accept the terms of the highway safety grant as presented, not to exceed the new amount of $11,000.
Okay, motion with a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Give it a whack.
Okay, next. Ordinance review requests, updates from last meeting.
So I believe that at the last meeting, there was some conversation which took place about looking at some of our ordinances. One of the questions that I recall was having a school zone out in front of the Carpenter School, why that isn't classified as such. Steve Randall is currently working with New Hampshire DOT to find out what exactly is going on with that one. And then I believe Brian had some requests, and as a result, Amy has printed off those ordinances in front of you, which are vehicles and traffic, the general provisions of one-way travel streets, restriction of parking on streets, seasonal parking restrictions, prohibited parking, travel and parking restriction for buses, winter months, shopping and standing or parking prohibited, handicap parking, school zone parking, parking on public property, bicycles, crosswalks, parking spaces, U-turns, speed limits on town roads, parking violations, penalties, and improper parking operations. So we've provided all of those for you. What would you like to do?
So I think we're going to have to look at this bit and pieces to make sure that we're using the lots as our ordinances say. And I will say that Mr. Thurston was talking to the town clerk a couple of times about having some parking spaces available. And I think we need, aren't there about 15 town employees, Jim, in the town hall?
That's correct.
So we would need 15 parking spaces designated in this parking lot for those employees. However, our ordinance doesn't align with that, so I wanted to know if the board would like to take this up and maybe we do this one piece sometime, and then we talk about another piece if we find other things in this ordinance, because it says that parking directly in front of the town hall should be limited to 30 minutes during the hours of 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and I don't think we have those signs there anymore. And then it says, with exception of the reserve spot for the town clerk. Well, we know that years ago we moved that reserve spot to the back. And then it says in the rear lot, except for parking spaces reserved for town employees, which the only one that I see out back other than the town clerks is the code officer has a place for his parking, is that it says that parking lot should be limited to 2 hours from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and island resident vehicles with island stickers shall have unrestricted use. Well, I'm not sure how much of this is happening or not happening. I just think that this is one, if we're going to be allowing or allotting parking spots for the town employees, we got to clean up this language.
Linda?
Yeah, I think we take this just like we did Docks and Wharfs, and we go through the whole thing and do it as a review of the whole area, then to pick at certain things. We did that, you know, each of us can look at the things that we think needs to be changed.
Sure.
And we do a work session on it. That to me is the way to go.
If there's no objection, I agree with that completely.
If we do a work session, can we start by picking 1 or 2 items out of it? Because if we find 10 that are not up to what's happening, I don't want to try and do a work session with 10. We won't get through
We can
them.
do as far as we can go. We took, what, 2 or 3 on the docks? But we went through and we looked and we talked about different ones, and then Jim came and gave us a draft of the rewrite.
Yeah, but we haven't even finished the docks and wharfs, have we?
No.
No.
But it's still,
So that's why I would like bits and pieces so that we make sure we get things done.
well, whatever the way you want to do it, I don't want to do it
So
as
Brian,
bits
are
and
you,
pieces.
are you suggesting that we send the police department up to the parking lot to ticket people for more than 2 hours?
No, what I'm saying is, what we need to do is, we have to do either enforce what we have or change what we have. But if times have changed and it's not being used the way it was under this ordinance, we have to make sure that usage and ordinances align.
So we can make a provision for the 15 parking spots as a carve-out?
Yeah, we can do that as select board. We dictate the ordinances, we develop the ordinances for the different lots in town.
So, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I agree that, here comes a snarky comment. We've been spending a whole bunch of time on docks and wharves and we ain't got nowhere. We're 8 hours into it, so I don't want to have an 8-hour seance on parking. I think Brian is right. We need to go through the document and kind of say, here's the ones I want to deal with. And I think that's where I'd like to do that.
I'm fine. I mean, I don't think we have to talk about U-turns.
I know, going
and
line
speed
by
limits
line.
on the road.
We'll be here till New Year's Eve, 2096. I do think there's some pickups, though, and I think you pointed out or asked the question of Jim, the town manager, about what are we going to do out there. That could be a quickie. We could just deal with that. I took an action to go figure out where the handicap spot was, and Jordy and I thought it was one place, only to find that someone gave me a photograph and I found it. It's one parking spot. I think we could fix that one, PDQ. But this whole idea of parking, the bigger thing is, I think it's a work session, but we need to come to the table and say, I want to talk about A, B, and C. And I will just say for the record, it isn't, of course I have the authority and the responsibility to designate who gets parking spots, but I am not going to be supportive of doing that. I think that is not what is in my bag of tricks. So I'll probably be on the negative side of a conversation that says, let's take care of A, B, C, D, E, F, G people. I'm not going to do that. And I know that's not going to win me friends at town hall, but it's the way it goes. So I would support doing the quickies, doing the quick ones, which is the school thing, the handicap place in front of North Main Cafe, and what was the third one we had, Linda?
We should do the parking lot back here that's 2 hours. It just is not.
And if that, yeah, fine.
You know, those are pretty easy.
Those are pretty,
quick.
you know.
So the board for
Let's schedule a
years
work
has
session.
been asking for enforcement in downtown, and then I read this and I find out that we're not asking for enforcement in the town hall lot.
Yeah.
We got to fix this. We got to either change the number of hours here that people are allowed to park, or we have to enforce. Is it still used by island residents?
I still, you know, I agree.
I don't know.
I agree. I just, when I hear those kinds of things, and not to be a jerk, when I hear those kinds of things, I put that in the category of I'll get to that later. I really want to get studied on a whole bunch of other topics in front of us, which we need to get to. But I agree, we should have a work session to do it as long as it's focused and it doesn't go wandering in the woods.
Yeah, it's been 15 years.
I know.
Since we addressed.
I know.
that.
I don't think this
Jim,
will
can
be
you
as a
put that on a work
contentious as the
session
docks.
item?
This, I think we can do it.
Okay,
All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Moving right along. Libby Trustees meeting.
I'll make a motion that we go into the Libby Trustees
Second.
meeting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the first item is Libby collection valuation. As you recall, we were directed by the Attorney General's Charitable Trust Unit to have the valuation of the Libby collection performed. That was performed. You have the documents in front of you produced by Ms. Pfeiffer. Through her document, she really comes back with 4 recommendations: conservation assessment of the collection, detailed itemized formal appraisal of the collection post-conservation, cleaning, rewrapping, and packaging of all materials in acid-free and dust-free environment. Unrelated items should be weeded from the collection. So those are her recommendations that we should take moving forward. And on page 5 of the report, her valuation of the Libby collection is $16,000.
All right.
And, Mr. Chairman, for clarity, that valuation is the Libby collection, not the other aspects of it, not donated items beyond that. It's Dr. Libby's collection.
All right. Now, we have that report here, and I think we can give that information out.
Absolutely, it's a public document.
The value of the Libby collection, just part of the Libby Museum that was Dr. Libby's, is estimated to be at $16,000. That does not include, as was mentioned, like the moose and a few other things that are up there that belong to other people. Or it's part of the Libby Museum. Formal appraisal of the collection, post-conservation. I don't know what we want to do with these other items. Paul, do you want to bring us up to date on some of the stuff that you have with friends?
Sure. I'm sorry, I was listening and I should have been paying attention. So we've received a note from the Friends of the Libby. It's in our packet. That note came from, at the time, the Mr. Goodwin. And Mr. Goodwin, continued to say that the Friends want to continue to support the Libby, but they had not an intention at that time to become lead trustees, my words, to assume responsibility for the Libby, meaning take it over, operate it, that they just didn't feel that they had the capabilities or the ability at that time to do that. The Friends of the Libby had an annual meeting I think it was last week, John? Was it last week? Yeah. Over at the library. They elected new officers. And congratulations to Suzanne Ryan. She is now in charge of the Friends of the Libby as the president. Is that the right way to? Is it the president of the group? I'm sorry. She's the chairperson, president of the team. The conversation was very lively. I think somebody said it was lively about the Libby, what's going on, why is it closed, what's happening. And John Thurston and I tried to explain what's going on, so I'll explain it to you and bring you up to date. The Attorney General asked us to do a valuation. We did it. We have another set of activities that we have to undertake, as to what should our collection policy be on a going forward basis in the event that an individual or individuals would like to recover, receive, take back, whatever the right words are, their contributions. That's a very formal process. You can't not get that right. You got to do it right because the court and all of us have a stewardship responsibility. So we have to get a collection process in place. At the present time, we are, and I shouldn't say we, I'll point at Mr. Pinio. Mr. Pinio is calling, I would say, mostly every other day. And I always get the name wrong, so Maggie will keep me honest. Preservation Timber Frame, is that the name of it? Was that good? Did I get it right? Preservation Timber Framing. This is a company that we have under contract to go to the Libby and to take care of the north wall. And for those of you who go down the Libby, the north wall is the one that you look at when you park your car. And it's got a little bow in it. And Preservation Timber Framing is wrapping up another job. And I think their presence at the building is, did you have an update, Jim? Is it like imminent?
Yeah, so Mr. Sturgis responded to me, and to quote him, "We are wrapping up some major jobs this fall and will begin your project in late September or early October, well before snow flies."
That is still on path. There's no plans that I'm aware of to curtail that activity. So that's going on, and you know, beyond that, I think we have two groups of selected people. Mr. Thurston and myself were focused on the Friends of the Libby, and two of my other colleagues were focused on other groups, because the ambition is to find a qualified successor. Those conversations, we have nothing to report at this time on those conversations at all. But we will continue to try, and we will continue to report every 90 days to the Attorney General Charitable Trust Unit. We did that report July?
July.
We did it in July. It's a public document. We made it available to the Friends of the Libby Museum. The Friends of the Libby Museum also have a duty, because they have standing. They have a standing here. They've reported to the State Attorney General's office as well. They made their report. We will continue to make our report. We owe them in October, I think, our next report, to update the AG's office on what we're doing. And that's about all I got, Dave. Okay.
Anybody have anything else?
I just have one.
I think we should move forward on getting the collection policy. I think that's pretty clear in everything we have here.
Agree.
And exactly how we want to do that. I believe that there are some examples of collection policies, and we should sit down either as some of the members of the board and go over that and see if we can draft with the town manager a collection policy.
So I would also wonder if, because it was not that expensive to value Dr. Libby's collection, do we want to see the value of all the donated gifts? Might that be interesting to a potential new set of trustees of the museum?
I don't know if we can use the money.
You mean like a supplemental evaluation of what the rest of it's worth?
Yeah, because we don't know, I mean, we don't know what the value is of the donated items that are there. We're not even sure if we'll be able to, if new trustees come in and don't want all of the items, we don't know if we'll be able to even find the original donors.
That's why we do the collection policy. That's where this all
That's where it goes.
ironed out on, we'll have set procedures on what we want to do.
But I think there's a two-part thing going on here. One is, we got to have a pretty concise collection policy, and I was just looking over it. I'm putting in Blodgett on the spot. She's looking up at the ceiling. Did we have one at the Wright? Okay, so, you know, we can go steal the one from the Wright Museum, and at least, if you wouldn't mind, we'll ask. We'll make an official ask. And it's up to you, obviously, or the Wright Museum people to say whether they want to do it. I didn't hear that.
They're public and on museum websites.
Yeah, they're public and on museum websites, so there you go. But, you know, we'll got to get that done. I agree with you. The second question, though, which is being asked is, should we expend funds to value the non-Dr. Libby assets? And the only thing I would preface that is, can we spend the money that's in the capital reserve fund to do that?
No, but
And we'd have to get a
do,
check from the lawyer.
we could, what Brian said, you can do it out of the general operating budget. That's, I mean, that's
You
where,
could.
that's where you would get the money.
If we have any money on the operating budget to do it.
Well, that's where we are on any of this.
Yeah. No, I think we're paying for the, but aren't we paying, didn't we pay for the valuation out of the CRF?
So can you give us a reason why we would value that collection?
My thought would be, say that the museum in Dover decided they wanted to step up and have a satellite museum up here. They would not want to know just what condition the building's in and what Dr. Libby's artifacts are worth. They might want to know not only what all the artifacts are in the museum, but what's the valuation of those also. Just thinking, I mean, the Woodward Museum in Dover, I don't know if they would ever be interested in taking it over. They're the closest natural history museum to us. But if there was a party that came to us like that, do we want more complete information for them?
Well, I think
Just a
we ought
thought.
to give it some thought anyway.
I will do some thinking about that, you know, and I think there may be some that we would. Okay, I'm practically eating it. Okay, I'll eat it. I think that we should talk about whether we want to spend the money. I think it's clear right now we need to move forward on a collection policy, and that we move in that direction and think about
Correct.
Brian's suggestion of whether we want to value other collection items other than Dr. Libby's.
So this is Mr. Chairman. So this is a put Maggie on the spot question. So the ad hoc Heritage Committee is still, team is still in force. And I'd like to ask, can Maggie help us put together some collection policy docs? I got to let the record show that Maggie said she's all signed up to do that. I think we should work together and try to get those things pretty quickly. Okay, good. Thank you.
All right, is there anything else? Suzanne?
I believe the next item is
Wait a minute.
the Heritage Commission was going to briefly speak to the board.
In Libby, trustee? Okay. Heritage Commission?
So David noted Suzanne.
Oh, okay, I didn't know we were doing public comment.
Suzanne?
Well, Suzanne Ryan, president of Friends of the Libby Museum. And I'd like to address the collection while you're discussing it. We have a policy. And Linda, you might remember that when we accepted the moose, we accepted, where's my notes? I think it was the canoe.
You know, Suzanne, I don't remember. Mike could go back and get my documents, but I
Well-
don't
So if you got
remember
it, give
the
it to us.
policy. No,
I
I
think
don't.
I think it was there is a policy. Now, it was a policy whereby you vote to accept donations and gifts of items. And you even had, the example was the moose that I remember, I believe the canoe, and a fan collection.
I think there was a bear.
Fan collection, and the board as trustees accepted those. Under the policy, there's a policy by which there is a form that has to be filled out. It has pertinent questions about, is it being donated or is it being
Gifted.
just leased to us? And do we have to return it? Can we keep it? And some history about it. And then also, I believe there was a dollar figure associated with it for $1,000 or more. Your curator currently should know about this policy, because I imagine somebody's donated something while she's been there that she either accepted or refused or said, fill out the form. And then also, in fact, we had the offer of the North American collection and the Lobner collection, and those were offered to be donated to the Libby, and the vote was no, not to accept. So there is a standard by which you do or do not accept. But what's interesting in this document that I got late this afternoon, and thank you for letting me have it, is that it's a textbook response here about how to handle a collection. It's right out of YouTube, you know, but basically it's the guidance for the accountability and the ethical treatment. So it means, how do you handle it, who's handling it, where is it stored, how do you care for it, and that sort of thing. I don't see where that leaves the offer that the Friends made to remove the important items or the fragile items from the collection and pay for the storage for up to 5 years and pay for the proper care. And I will read to you, if I might, just something that we put together, and that I don't think that maybe it was clear as to the conditions or the terms by which we would offer, because no one's talked to us about it. There's not been a reply to our letter from, I believe it was August. But as a general idea, in preparation, the Friends of the Libby has reviewed the 4 large inventory volumes that describe each museum item, and you have one at the library, and you've all been supplied with a copy here. We will prepare a list and copies of each page of relevant items for removal if requested. We will offer to pack items in archival materials as recommended by the expert Valerie Kincaid, who worked on the town previously and whom we have reached out to. We offer, if allowed and given access before November 1, to go with knowledgeable past directors to identify and remove items wearing protective clothing and masks. We offer to ensure safe, temperature-controlled storage for up to 5 years at the Friends of Libby Museum cost. After 5 years cost, we will be the town's responsibility unless otherwise arranged. Given obvious security risk, we do not wish to discuss storage locations in public session. Items will not be accessible during storage to anyone other than myself and persons designated ahead of time by the selectmen trustees. The space will be insured. Items. Given the short time before winter removal, we will be limited to items likely to be permanently damaged by continuing exposure to damp and mold. For example, paper items such as the original Wolfeboro town map of its first settlement, famous lithographs of Revolutionary War books and photo items made by Dr. Libby. This is a modest offer because our earlier offer to help with total removal of the collection was not acted on by the town. We will not be able to remove any fur, feather, or scaled taxidermy items, nor large Native American and natural history items, given the lack of time to do so. So my question to the board is, the offer stands. What do you want to do? What would you like us to do? And as I say, it's a short window of opportunity. We would hope that you would find a way to take the offer. Do you have any questions that I might not be able to answer?
Can you get a copy of that to Jim?
Yeah, I scribbled all over it, but yeah.
Did you email us a copy of that, Jim? Did you send that to the Board of Selectmen?
No.
You have not sent that to us.
No, we sent you the letter that was the offer.
Offered to do that.
And we awaited a response for which we were going to then talk to your two designees and explain this to them, but we never got that opportunity.
So we received the letter, but not that other that you were reading, your offer.
Yeah, correct. You received the letter, but those terms,
Have not been, okay.
those terms have not been written down.
You've got the
You
letter.
might want to write it down. You might want to write those terms down.
Well, I'm sorry.
You might want to write those terms that you just read into the record, write them down, send
I've
them
got it,
on.
you can have this. It's not very formal.
No, it should be.
Here.
We're
Yeah.
talking about we're talking about the collection. It has to be formal.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions? Discussion?
Yeah, I think if Suzanne's right, we have a collection policy. I'd like to see it.
Right.
And that's one thing we need to find if we,
It's at the Libby Museum.
well, that doesn't do me any good.
I don't have a key. You guys can go get
I'm
it.
just
You
saying,
need to ask your...
Suzanne, I'm just talking to this board and telling them the things that we need to get.
You ask your
I
learner, Elena, whatever her name is, I don't know her, but she's the curator. She has it. She should have it.
Jim,
I'm meeting with her
can
on
you
Tuesday.
see if you can get that collection policy for us? And we should have that collection policy sent to town attorney for review.
Agreed.
And it seems like from what I'm seeing on this, any such collection policy would facilitate the need for a comprehensive agreement to be put in place with either the Friends of the Libby Museum or entity for the storage or display at another location. And we need clarity exactly what he's talking about in that for us to move forward.
Before it gets stored someplace, I think that we need a representative from the town, either one or two of the Libby trustees, or the town manager, or both, to look at the different facilities where they are. We would need pictures and a catalog of what is in each storage area, and that it should be checked on, I don't know, biannually or something like that, so we know that the collection is there, it's safe, and everything's okay. Because when we give it to a third party, it becomes out of our control, and as the trustees, we are still in control of every one of those artifacts.
Correct.
And if something happens, it's coming down on us.
And I think that's what I would expect in that comprehensive agreement.
Correct.
I don't think anyone expects anything less than it be done in a proper legal fashion and
Correct.
with the approval of the trustees and the board
Yeah.
and attorneys involved. It would not be just something that we just go and pack up some stuff and take it out. It would be very thorough.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just what we as a board need to make sure we have in place.
I mean, those are conditions you could put, that we expect you to tell us what you would like us to do. We can only make the offer.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
Got it.
Hear you.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Need a motion to come out of the Libby Trust?
Move to come out of
Jim's got
the
something.
Libby
No,
Trust.
the Heritage Commission is
Oh.
here. They wanted to speak very briefly to the board about their works.
Heard it? Maggie's going to pass.
Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Then I guess we're done.
Move to come out of the Libby trustees meeting.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're on to old business.
I have one old business. When we set the dates for our budget hearings, one of the things we didn't do is talk about who would bring the dinner. And so I'm willing to do the October 2nd meeting, and I'll bring pizza. And then the rest of you can go down and look at the other dates and decide who gets to bring the dinner on those dates.
Okay.
All right. What kind of pizza?
Those are important.
Give me,
I'm in for peanut butter and jelly.
PB&J. All right.
Okay, any other old business? Any other business? Town managers report.
A couple of items. This week, the assessing office has been meeting with citizens regarding the reevaluation which took place. Those hearings have been ongoing, so they're working through trying to get the reevaluation completed so that it can be verified and certified by DRA. Friday all day, the office will be closed. Solid waste will be closed for Employee Appreciation Day. Emergency services will continue to operate. The 26th, the new webpage will be live, so be aware that you'll see some changes on the webpage effective the 26th, and it should be much more user-friendly for cell phones and portable devices. We're currently working through CIP. We are in the process of reviewing financials and continuing to move that forward. The budget, we're almost through department reviews. We still have a goal of finishing up and initiating print for the Board of Selectmen for next Friday. Audit report has been delayed a couple weeks. It's in draft form now, and it is in process of peer review, so hopefully we will see that final document soon. Myself, Linda, Mr. Thurston, and a couple of individuals from Wolfeboro Waters met with the librarian to go over the parking lot at the library. I'm sure John will speak to that. We're looking at that going forward as to what we may be able to do, correct some of the issues down there. We also have been going through, we started last week, impact negotiations relative to the ambulance coming on board with the town and fire department. And lastly, some people may have received a letter in the mail regarding electric rebates. Please be advised that we do not offer those. If you are a customer of Wolfeboro Municipal Electric, those are documents blanket mailed out, and it's for Eversource, so it's not applicable to anybody here in the town of Wolfeboro. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Question for Jim. Is it possible those letters went to residents on Browns Ridge Road? They're covered by the co-op.
They went, quite a few
Oh, you got one?
places in town received them.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Okay, committee reports. Brian, we'll start with you.
So I went to the senior lunch. It's one of my favorite activities every month. And I like to help serve the seniors and have nice conversations with them about Wolfeboro and their needs and wants in town. we all went, well, 4 of us went to the post-Kane presentation for Rita Corson, which was a great event. She's 102 years old, and it was very uplifting. I had a heritage meeting that was canceled and till a later date, and I had an EDC that was postponed until next Tuesday from this Tuesday. CIP meetings, but Linda can take care of those. I'm just the alternate. And we had the budget committee meeting, and where I think we finally nailed down our rules and procedures for the budget committee, which will give a good roadmap of how the committee operates.
Paul?
Thank you. In no particular order, I also attended the Budget Committee as Brian's alternate. I attended the Police Commissioners session last week. It's always good to hear what they're doing, see what they're accomplishing, and meeting some of the new officers. I told a story there at the Police Commission meeting about, a warm Saturday night down at the town docks, and there was this couple, and they were scared to bejeepers because their car wouldn't start. They had the hood up. They didn't know what to do, and along comes the cruiser, and 2 of our finest got out and jump-started the car, and they felt really good about it, and at the risk of a little promotion of our police officers, there were hugs and stuff. And every so often when we think that we really are a piece of you-know-what, just reflect on, I think, what our police officers and our public safety people do, because they did a nice job. It was awesome. The town manager and myself and Mr. Senecal are having conversations with the ambulance union. They want to have impact conversations, and we're doing that behind closed doors. And we're now in our 2nd meeting, and it's been good. It's good. A lot of work to do. The hard work always comes down around the last hour of the contract. I spent time last evening with Friends of Abenaki. There'll be something coming before this board in the next few weeks. There's an interest in doing some things to electrify the hill, so the lift works good, or the rope tow. Great meeting, smart people. They know what they're doing. It was great. Planning board, I attended at late. Mr. Thurston sat in for me, but there were a couple of applications last evening that are in flight. Know more about that when they get published. And then lastly, as I reported, John and I attended the Friends of the Libby annual meeting. And as I said, it was a lively conversation. So that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Linda?
Okay, I attended the Capital Improvement Plan Committee, also known as the CIP Committee. It has met twice since our last meeting. The first meeting, the committee reviewed the public works projects. Before the next meeting, the committee was asked to rank all their projects and send their rankings to the town manager. At the second meeting, the CIP committee reviewed and discussed the ranking. The town manager was asked to develop several spreadsheets that showed the CIP committee's ranking in years and by departments. If citizens would like to review the department submittals, go to the town website, click on Capital Improvement Committee. On the CIP page on the left-hand side, you will see 2026 through 2035 CIP. Click on that, and all the documents that the CIP committee has been reviewing are there. Last night, Wolfeboro met and have finalized its performers. We're working on our schedule for last night, and we've updated our sponsor form. Fundraising will start at the end of September. At the Libby Library Trustees meeting, the trustees reviewed the 2026 CIP committee for the parking lot drainage system changes and review the 2026 library budget submittal. And I'd like to point out or read some of the totals that I get each month from the librarian on the increased use of the library. Hoopla, which is one of their digital providers, went up 35%. Overdrive, which has audio books, are up 10%. Magazines are up 22%. New patrons cards is up 38%, and this is all over the prior year. Public computer use is up 8%. Adult programs offered is up 10%, and the number of attendees is up 62%. But this is the one I really love. The children's programs, the number of attendees was 148 in 2024, and in 2025, there was 343, or up 132%. I think that's just fantastic. It tells you the significance, tells the significance of our library and how we are using it. I attended the Chamber of Commerce September quarterly meeting, and I reported on the Select Board's major discussion items and projects. The Assessment Subcommittee of Wolfeboro Waters reviewed its 2026 budget submittal to update the amounts for testing, sampling, and for intern. The Assessment Committee is beginning to discuss its section in a draft report to the Select Board on its 2025 Wolfeboro Waters activity, and that should be coming end of October, beginning of November. And the Wolfeboro Waters subgroup on the library parking lot met with the engineering firm staff and discussed how the stormwater runoff was entering the retention garden. The subcommittee group agreed that it needed the parking lot elevation to better understand how stormwater runoff moves across the parking lot. And I'm sure John may give some more information on that. This morning, the Community TV Board met to go over its 2026 budget that it will submit to the town. It discussed putting a history together. I also attended the fundraising meeting to provide ideas on the campaign. Community TV has been at the farmers market raising funds towards the $60,000 for the new server and an additional $15 towards operating expenses. On September 21st, that's this Sunday, at 2 p.m., the Wolfeboro Historical Society will be having its annual figure tea at the Clark House. At the tea, you will meet a Boston Tea Party participant, a Revolutionary War soldier, a Civil War nurse, a 1860 congressman and senator, and more. And I am told there are about 5 tickets left, so if you're interested, you should get there quickly. And that's all I have.
All right, I went to a Conservation Commission meeting. As Paul mentioned, we're dealing with AFSCME and the union negotiations. We did the Boston Post-Cane to Rita Corson. And then I also went to a meeting, as Paul alluded to, as far as the Friends of Abenaki.
So I attended the Friends of the Libby meeting with Paul last week in the Thursday afternoon, I believe. I attended the Waters Subcommittee meeting with Dana Huff and Steve Town, Jim and Linda to discuss the parking lot and some other additional aspects related to the parking lot access and the flow of access. I think the discussion from the way it ended up was, yes, the engineer who is looking at the design of the new design, he pointed out some beneficial aspects, but he also was questioned on the original design. And the original design was done by Underwood Engineering, and when the parking lot was built, it was a question whether or not the design was a good design or the design wasn't built to design. So there seems to be a look back point there where I'm asking the town manager to have Underwood Engineering give us a overview of their design and how they think their design was built to spec. And then we can compare that to any new aspects of the new designs. And with the elevation spotting, we'll be able to see whether or not those post-construction aspects were adhered to when they originally designed the parking lot. I think one of the things that we did note when the engineer spoke, he was able to show us how some of the design was supposed to go, but again, I'm looking back and saying, we paid Underwood Engineering for the design. I'd like to hear from them what they think should have happened. And so we're waiting on that. I don't know, we don't know where the funding is going to come from. So we have two different aspects. Will Underwood do the design review? And how will the spot elevations be paid for? So that's an ongoing conversation. I attended the planning board meeting last night where Outwell from over there in the Falls was approved for their parking lot. There still is some discussion on whether or not the attorneys are going to agree to allow it to move forward from somebody who's contesting that neighbor doing the work. I also attended the Golden Cane Award for Mrs. Corson. It was a great afternoon on Saturday, and congratulations to her for being 102 years young and the oldest resident in the town of Wolfeboro. I also attended with three other members of the select board, Jim's performance evaluation for the town manager and his goals and objectives. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions from the press? Are they on?
No, I believe she's left. She's left.
Okay, public input. Limited 3 minutes per person, not to exceed 15 minutes.
Hi, Carol McMahon from Wolfeboro, and I'm here tonight to ask this committee and all the other committees that are considering Mr. Hutchinson's proposal to give it some serious thought as an option, because the center, the community center is already shut down. So that's not an option. I mean, that's already done. You guys talk like it wasn't, but it is. And if, according to the CIP, I mean, there's next year we were going to vote on some money, $100,000 for a design process to redo that building or rebuild it. So, and we know how the budget's been going, not well, for voting. And then it's not on the schedule for, it's got a $4 million placehold for 2027. So, I mean, we're looking at, if we have to go this route, we're looking at 2028, 2029, that the people that use that facility are going to be displaced. So if there's any option that can move more quickly, I'll know it's probably out of the, you know, out of the box, that a private citizen would come forward and try to put this together. I really would ask that it get serious consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening, Patricia Brothers. Thank you very much, Brian. We enjoy having you come to our lunches. You're a great asset. Yes, Mr. Hutchins has a good idea, and I hopefully will take a good look at it and consider it. The Wolfeboro seniors have been trying to find a place for many years, as you well know. And with this community center closed down, we're going to go to Abenaki, which is fine. But at some point, we're not going to be able to be at Abenaki because they're going to need to open up for skiing. And where are we going to go from there? So if you could take a good look at what he is presenting and proposing, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Okay, anybody else?
Hi, Barbara Rodolfi. Again, the situation is the senior center. Firstly, before I lose track of everything, Mr. Hutchinson's letter, I tried to find it on the internet. I'm not that great on the internet, and I could not find what he wrote to you people. So I have no knowledge of what he found. Now, your panel has said that you will go to the fire department, the police department, and whatever else to get more information. I'm requesting that you put it out into the public, your findings of what they're saying about the senior center. I've been going there for 5 years maybe, and I've never fallen through the floor. Yet, when I first came, I was much younger, and I asked if you could do line dancing. And I was shut down immediately and told me, no, the floor was not doable. You could fall through the floor. Secondly, I asked if we could have chair volleyball. No, we can't do that either. If you read the literature, which for days I've been reading the literature that you put out on the town of Wolfeboro, I moved here on that literature. You state that you have a senior center that gives physical and mental stimulation. What are you giving? There is nothing physical about the senior center. There is nothing allowed in the senior center. Yesterday, I went to the meeting at Pop Whalen, and we were advised that once the snow comes, as this lady spoke to, we're homeless again. Now, the word senior is a big word, and it covers all ages. I have 7 children. All 7 are seniors. Do they fall under this? No. We are talking about 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds, 2 or 3 90-year-olds that are looking for a place to go for stimulation. The town of Wolfeboro is not offering it. So either you change your literature that's out there on the internet claiming that this is the place to retire. This is not the place to retire. You people all have jobs. You're still busy. There are a lot of us that had jobs. We are no longer busy. We are looking to stay alive. Staying alive requires physical and mental, and you're not offering either. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Hey. Good evening, Victor Druin, President of Back Bay. Paul, I think you started to ask the question, and then apparently we closed it pretty quick for discussion. But on those facility use agreements, so we do those every year, have been doing them every year. Back Bay's is somewhat different than all the other users because we had other rights and stuff, snack shack, skate sharpening and things. I asked for that at the beginning of the year when we first started. I got the 1-pager instead. And he said, well, we're working on it, but I've never seen that document, so I have no idea if it's something we're going to sign. I know that Kurt's been going back and forth with Brian on how we're going to use the skate sharpening and not use it, things like that. But you guys apparently approved that tonight, but I can't tell you we're going to sign it because we've never seen it. So, you might want to start getting it out to your users before you get it in for full approval. So anyway, that's one thing. The one pager, I think it's great for, people that come in and just need a short-term rental. It's a little bit of a pain because every month now, basically I get a separate contract. So I have a license agreement, I have a locker contract, and now every month I get a separate agreement that I have to sign and deal with and manage. So it adds, now, instead of what used to be a one-step, we just signed it once a year, we got billed monthly, and now we're done. Now we're signing it, getting monthlies, and then getting bills. So it just adds steps to the process. So anyway, that's just food for thought as you guys are going through the operation and stuff. I think the one pager is great. Certainly has a purpose. Maybe it needs a insurance provision or something, but overall, it's a good step. My last point, on the access agreement or the access policy that Brian threw in there at the end, those access agreements are already a provision. You have 3 license agreements for the lockers that are already in there. So those were approved by the voters. So before you trample those license agreements, you might want to read them. So I know last year there was a situation where Christine was working with Governor Wentworth issuing keys. Governor Wentworth doesn't have any access to that building other than the ice. So that needs to go through Friends of Kingswood or Brewster or Back Bay, because those are the ones that control those, locked, keyed access. So just make sure we're directing those policies if it gets amended. Excuse me. So anyway, just things to think about. When the POP was done, so I know we've been talking about, forget where you were, lady that just spoke before me, the Abenaki ski area. We built 2 rooms at POP for public use. One of them was almost built intentionally for the quilters. It has lockable cabinets, it's got counter space, it's enough room for probably 20 people in there, plus there's a stretch room. I mean, it's really set up for, it's climate controlled, it's ADA, has food there, bathrooms, restrooms, all that stuff. I mean, that's why it was built. And I think that's being underutilized, but hopefully those rooms are beautiful. I hope you use them. But that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Victor.
Okay.
Hi, Bobby Budman. I just had one quick comment. I am really hoping this year that we put forward maybe a warrant article so we can comply with RSA 91A2, Section C. Each part of a meeting required to be open to the public shall be audible or otherwise discernible to the public at the location of the meeting. There are a lot of us in here. I mean, this is years and years we've been talking about the fact that we can't hear. I think it's time to have, headsets, something, more speakers in here, but there's a lot of people here who spent the night not being able to hear again, so I hope we'll fix that. I have a question that really, I guess, is for Barry, but I'm assuming Paul might be able to answer this. When Barry was talking about Section 3 of the revenue for those non-rate, that 89% increase, what I'm curious about that is I know that just historically we've had a hard time getting broadband to our people. So with this 89% increase, will that be then coming back to the citizens of town on our broadband bills and our cable bills, or how does that work? Because someone's going to absorb that 89%. So I'm just curious where the fallout's going to be on that. That's all. Thanks.
Okay. public. Town manager says we don't need it. So, do you want a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, move to adjourn.
I think you got somebody coming up with the mic.
One more.
One more.
I'm Susan Bunting, Wolfeboro resident, also member of Ladies of the Lake Quilters Guild, and I spoke last week from when Mary Morgan submitted the letter to you about how important the community center is to Ladies of the Lake. Our job is, and our mission is to make quilts for sick, very sick children and adolescents, and we do our work at the community center. We have our meetings at the church, we have our quilt sales at another church, but our regular meetings at the community center is where the work gets done. That's where the quilts are made, where up to 20 to 30, not really 30, but up to 25 often, quilters will be there working together, making these quilts. And I want to thank you for considering saving that building. It's very important to us, not just because it's a community center, but it's quaint. It's Wolfeboro. It's when you go through the town of Wolfeboro, through the main street, what makes Wolfeboro so special compared to all the other towns around Lake Winnipesaukee? It's different. You have your old houses on North Main Street that have been renovated. They're beautiful, and people love this place for its quaintness. The community center is quaint. It's a home away from home. If we can fix it at a reasonable cost, we're very willing as Ladies of the Lake to contribute a significant amount of money towards it, which is hard for us because we don't have a lot and we don't raise a lot of money. Most of it comes off of our own personal expenses. So whatever you can do to consider Mr. Hutchinson's proposal, we are so behind it. We will do whatever we have to do to raise the funds so the taxpayers don't have to pay a penny for this renovation. We take good care of it. We're good stewards of it. And I just want to end with, this reminds me when I was a principal of an elementary school in Rye, New Hampshire, many, many years ago. I had a framed comic strip sort of above my desk, and it said, "Build a new playground for the children." And the first square was from the parents, and they wanted this magnificent playground with castles and slides and swings. The next square was the school board. They wanted much less, but it was still pretty significant. The third square were the parents. They wanted something even less because they didn't want their taxes to go up. And the last square was what the children wanted. It was 2 tires on ropes hanging from limbs. We're the children. Thank you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.